Tell Marte is going to get some cleats like those spats.
I'm surprised he doesn't have them.
D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by .81 degrees, just gorgeous along the Pacific Ocean. D-backs baseball brought to you by Sanderson Ford. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly, Jody Jackson with you. The finale of this 4-game set from Petco Park. Diamondbacks with the National League's best road record. The Padres with the fewest wins at home in the league. And the D-backs with a chance to take 3 of 4 and finish up this 9-game trip with a 5-4 record. Here's a look at the Diamondbacks batting order today. It's brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealers.
John Jay will lead it off out in right field today. A.J. Pollock will be in center. Good to see David Peralta back in the lineup out in left field after missing a couple of ball games. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. Eduardo Escobar at third. Daniel Descalso getting the start at second with Ketel Marte sliding over to shortstop this afternoon. Jeff Mathis behind the plate for right-hander Zach Greinke.
On the mound for the Padres, your Ram truck starting pitcher is Brett Kennedy. Rookie right-hander just turned 24 years old earlier this month, and he is making only his third career major league start. The first two have not gone all that well.
Yeah, great numbers coming out of El Paso in 16 starts down there. He went a perfect 10-0 with a 2.72 ERA. However, he has really been banged around at the major league level. A couple of short outings, total of 9 innings, giving up 20 hits, 11 runs.
He set some major league history in his major league debut 2 starts ago. It did not go well. We'll tell you about that as we move along here over the course of the ball game. In the meantime, a look at the San Diego defense this afternoon is provided by E.D. Marshall Jewelers.
That's big old Franmil Reyes out in right field this afternoon. Travis Jankowski in center field. Hunter Renfroe over in left. It'll be Will Myers at third. Freddie Galvis at short. Corey Spangenberg at second. Eric Hosmer over at first base. Veteran A.J. Ellis doing the catching this afternoon for right-hander Brett Kennedy.
Calling the balls and strikes behind the plate today, Quinn Walcott is our plate umpire. Sean Barber at first base, James Hoy at second, and the crew chief Eric Cooper is our third base ump. Time, Bob, for your Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game.
Well, we had Zach attack last night. Didn't quite work out the way the Diamondbacks were hoping for, so we went to Zach 2.0. It's new, improved, updated, much better.
Yeah, Zach Godley had a bumpy ride in the 4th and 5th innings. Gave up 6 runs and 8 hits, went only 5. And, of course, the Diamondbacks lost in the 9th on the Christian Villanueva walk-off single. D-backs beginning play 12 over 500. Their lead atop the National League West down to a half game over the Rockies. And Colorado is closing in on another win in Atlanta today. The Dodgers, who lost at Seattle last night, are 2 games back. John Jay at 280 and 3 home runs, and we are set to go on a Sunday in San Diego. Glad you're with us on Fox Sports Arizona. Fastballs to strike 0-1.
Yeah, odd ending to that Dodger Mariners game last night. Dodgers came back to tie it up late and then lost it on a bases loaded balk.
Ouch. John Jay hits one down the left field line. Hunter Renfroe has it in foul ground. Yeah, they're just about done at SunTrust Park in Atlanta. The Rockies, who were down 3-0 in the 9th last night, forced extra innings and won it in the 10th. Colorado in the 9th inning now leads the Braves 4-2. AJ 284 and 15 homers.
DJ LeMahieu hit his 11th homer today for the Rockies. Trevor Story number 26.
Yeah, LeMahieu had the home run in the 10th last night. Dodgers are back at Seattle today with Kershaw on the mound against the Mariners. AJ, big night last night. He doubled twice, scored twice, drove in 2 runs. This is Brett Kennedy, who pitched collegiately at Fordham. He's from Atlantic City, New Jersey. An 11th round pick by the Padres in the 2015 draft. Made his major league debut less than 2 weeks ago. He pitched against the Brewers at Miller Park in Milwaukee. And an amazing thing happened. He gave up 3 consecutive home runs in the very first inning of his career. AJ belts that to left center. Renfroe won't get there, and it one hops the wall. Diamondbacks once again with their foot on the gas to start us off. They have scored in the top of the first inning in each of their last 6 games. That ties a franchise record.
A.J. Pollock squaring up a 4-seam fastball out over the plate. Kennedy doesn't really have a plus pitch. He throws a 4-seamer, a slider, an occasional 2-seam sinking fastball. But as the numbers would say, over his first 2 starts against the Angels and the Brewers, he's very hittable.
No team in the majors has scored more first inning runs this year than the Diamondbacks, 107. Here's David Peralta back in left field today. David at 299 with 22 home runs. Down with a stomach bug for most of the last 2 games. Did pop out in a pinch hit appearance last night.
I think it was more of a stomach Wolverine, according to the reports we've heard. But good to see David back today. Smile on his face, ready to play some ball.
By all accounts, it did seem to be a little Sigourney Weaver alienish. 0-2. Goldie on deck. Mentioned Brett Kennedy. 2 starts ago in his big league debut at Miller Park, he got his first batter, Christian Yelich, to ground out. Then Lorenzo Cain and Mike Moustakas singled against him. And then Jesus Aguilar, Travis Shaw, and Eric Thames all hit home runs all in a row. That's a rough start.
It's quite a gauntlet of hitters to get through.
He strikes out Peralta with a good changeup.
It's a pitch he'll show sparingly throughout the course of the afternoon unless he's feeling it. And then I would assume you'd see a lot more of those straight changeups. That one was pretty good to get David to chase.
You can't get any hotter right now than Paul Goldschmidt. 293 and 28 home runs. In the last 2 games of this series, Goldie has reached base safely in 9 consecutive plate appearances, tying the franchise record. So this would be the record breaker. Goldie already shares that mark, 9 straight, with Mark Reynolds, Raul Mondesi, and Greg Colburn. Goldie reaching safely in 9 consecutive plate appearances last April. The numbers on the road trip, he's hitting .515 in 8 games so far. Last night, not just a 4 for 4, but he drove in runs with all 4 hits, including a 2-out RBI single that tied the game in the 7th inning. After Pollock had doubled, AJ's at second, 2 outs.
Since Goldie's first year in the major leagues, 2012, only 2 players have more games with 4 or more hits, 4 or more RBI. Matt Kemp and Miguel Cabrera each have 6 such games. Paul Goldschmidt has 5.
Well, there it is, the intentional walk. So he's now reached in 10 consecutive plate appearances. After Kennedy fell behind 3-0, they'll instead work to Eduardo Escobar.
Yeah, Andy Green last night had to be ecstatic that his team came back to register that walk-off win. Otherwise, he was going to have to answer a lot of questions about pitching to Paul Goldschmidt with a base open in the 7th inning of the ball game.
But the tying run on second after Pollock had doubled with 2 outs. Escobar, he had a big night last night as well, up to 281 with 18 homers. 2 on and 2 out. So a new franchise record for Goldie. 10 consecutive plate appearances, reaching base safely. Escobar last night, 3 hits. He's got 6 hits and he scored 6 times in the series so far. He's got AJ at second, Goldie at first. All right, away, AJ Ellis, the veteran catcher, going to try and nurse Kennedy through his 3rd major league start. Out to have a chat. Not only have the D-backs scored a run in the 1st inning in each of their last 6 games, in 5 of those 6 games, they've scored multiple runs in the 1st inning. They scored 2 in the 1st last night. Two in the 1st on Friday, a 5-run first here Thursday in the series opener. Taking all the way, a fastball is a strike. Fly ball for Reyes in right field, coming in on a cloud in the sky up there. And Kennedy strands 2. We're in San Diego. Zach Greinke coming up. Set for the home half of the first at Petco Park. Your Ram Trucks starting pitcher for the D-backs is the right-hander Zach Greinke. Zach looking for his 13th win of the year. He has lost his last 3 starts.
And it would certainly help Zach's chances to win the ball game today if he can rediscover that changeup. It's a pitch that's kind of been hit or miss for him over his last 3 or 4 starts, and we know how important that pitch is in his arsenal.
Travis Jankowski, the leadoff man again today in center field, starts it off for San Diego. Jankowski, 259. He's homered twice. And he sends one out to left center field. That one slicing into the gap, and it rolls to the wall. Jankowski can fly, but he'll stop at second. A leadoff double.
Just an elevated fastball, mid-thigh, mid-plate. Drives it out there in that gap in left center. Ball slicing away from A.J. from the moment it left Jankowski's bat all the way to the wall.
Well, this is where we left off the game last night with Travis Jankowski at second base. He scored on the Villanueva walk-off single. Will Myers back at third today, 258 and 9 home runs. Myers has singled and walked twice in the series. They're still getting a look at him as a potential third baseman for next year. So far it seems to have gone pretty well. He's made 5 starts down there at third.
And we've talked about Will Myers throughout this series, throughout this season for that matter. Really good athlete, and you really get the feeling if that's what the Padres want to do, he'll work hard this offseason and in spring training next year and will probably turn himself into a more than serviceable third baseman.
Well, we know when catchers are moved to third base, only good things can happen.
Only good things can happen.
Wait, what? Oh, okay. Myers started out as a catcher in the Royals organization. Greinke behind 2-0.
And they wisely got him out from behind the plate so they could take advantage of his speed. For a big guy, he really runs well. We've seen him leg out some infield hits, beat some possible double plays.
He's not been healthy this year. He's been on the DL 3 different times. That's been a problem over the course of his career. That fastball's at the knees. Myers was out for 9 games. The bone bruise in his left foot just came off the DL on Monday. He's been playing third base ever since. You see that front foot is all padded up there.
He's had back-to-back 20 homer, 20 steal seasons, and you get the feeling if he could stay healthy, he could be a 30-30 guy.
Vitel Marte, the shortstop. And that's the first out. Valley Chevy Dealers has the Padres lineup today.
Jankowski out in center field. Myers at third base. Eric Hosmer at first, making his way to the plate right now. Hunter Renfroe out in left field. Corey Spangenberg at second base. Franmil Reyes out in right field. Freddie Galvis at short. A.J. Ellis behind the plate for rookie right-hander Brett Kennedy.
Eric Hosmer's had a good series, 4 hits. He has doubled twice and homered. Batting .257 with 12 home runs. Hosmer was a problem last night. He walked twice, had an RBI double, scored 2 runs.
And probably the closest thing we've seen to a controversy this year, some disagreement over the pitch selection to Eric Hosmer. Mike Butcher blamed it on the pitcher because he has the ultimate right to shake his head no, and Torey Lovello chose to blame the catcher. But my feeling has always been I don't think there's any such thing as the wrong pitch. You can throw it to the wrong location and it can get hit hard. But if you execute the pitch, put it where you want, he probably doesn't hit the ball.
Yeah, that was a key at bat against Hosmer in that 5th inning when Zach Godley suddenly started breaking out a whole bunch of change-ups to Hosmer, which is not near the top of his repertoire list. And Torrey was a little less than thrilled with that. Jankowski, who can really run, breaks for third, and he is out. Just the 5th time all year Travis Jankowski has been caught stealing as Mathis throws him out at third.
I'm sure the Padres are going to want to take a look. What a nice release by Jeff Mathis. He realized he didn't have time to come up out of his crouch. It helps that it's a left-handed batter and he can just drop down to a knee and fire to Eduardo Escobar at third.
No challenge from San Diego. Eric Cooper, the crew chief, right there to make the call as Mathis throws him out.
Nice.
So base is empty, 2 down now, and a 2-2 count on Hosmer. Another fastball fouled off. Zach Greinke beaten at Texas in his previous start. That was last Monday. 4 runs, 6 hits, 6 1/3, couple of home runs. The home runs have been a slight blip on Greinke's radar screen lately. He's given up 6 homers in his last 5 starts. That one is rolled into right, a base hit. And a ground ball for Hosmer, who hits just about everything these days on the ground. A look around the diamond at the D-backs defense today. That's brought to you by E.D. Marshall Jewelers.
David Peralta back in the lineup in left field this afternoon. A.J. Pollock in center. John Jay over in right field. It'll be Escobar and Marte on the left side of the infield. Descalso and Goldschmidt on the right side. Jeff Mathis behind the plate. And right-hander Zach Greinke on the mound.
2-out base runner for Hunter Renfroe, the left fielder. Fastball is in. Renfroe, he's got good power. 244, 13 home runs. Entire right side of the infield is wide open for him, with Goldie holding Hosmer on the bag at first. Descalso right behind the base at second. This one is blasted deep to left center field and say goodbye. Wow. Mentioned just a moment ago, the home runs have started to become a slight issue for Zach. And right away, it's the Padres who grab the early lead.
We know Zach Greinke has always given up a number of home runs over the course of the season, usually solo homers. But we talked about the Robinson Chirinos 3-run bomb in Texas in his last start. And now Hunter Renfroe hits one about halfway to La Jolla.
That is a poke in this ballpark. You don't see a lot of balls hit out there into the bullpen area. For Greinke, that's his 23rd home run given up this year. This is start number 26. Here's Corey Spangenberg. Spangenberg has got 7 homers, hitting .252. Hunter Renfroe, 65 hits this year, 34 of them have been extra base hits. That's his 6th home run this month. So final in Atlanta, the Rockies beat the Braves 4-2. So as of this moment, the D-backs are tied for the National League West lead with Colorado. Dodgers have a 3-0 lead early in the first at Seattle. Yankees run it full on Spangenberg with Franmil Reyes on deck. Called strike three, looks at a fastball. But Hunter Renfroe's 14th of the year makes it 2-0 San Diego.
Here today in the series finale. Jody Jackson with you here on the field. And earlier today, before the game, Troy Lavello talking about it. It's still on his mind, wearing it a little bit. And that was Zach Godley last night in the 5th inning, saying that maybe he needs to have a little bit of a shorter leash. Zach gave up 3 runs in that 4th inning, issued a couple of walks, and then in the 5th, he ended up giving up 3 more runs. So, you know, it's interesting, guys. You know, the philosophy for Torrey has always been to let his guys go deep in the game, have that confidence, not have them worry about the bullpen, but he also has to juggle that with being a little more careful right now, especially in mid-August. He says he feels like the guys know he has confidence in them and he does trust them, but he'll keep a closer eye, it sounds like, after looking back at what happened last night.
Usually as Daniel Descalso leads off the second, Jody, Zach will have maybe one bumpy inning and get through it. That's the tipping point, and Godley is generally okay after that. And Godley, Bob, had been terrific his previous 3 starts, so he earned a little equity there.
Yeah, and I get Torrey's point. You get down to the final month of the season in a pennant race, you have to do things a little differently than maybe you would back in April or May or June when you're trying to develop that trust between you know, your pitching staff and your pitching coach and your manager. And we've gotten to the point now, as Torrey said, they know I have their back. They know I have confidence in them, but I'm going to do what I have to do to win games.
Dodgers keep scoring in Seattle. It's now 5-0 LA. They're still in the 1st inning. Puig just singled home too. Full count on Descalso, 3-2. Ketel Marte on deck. Daniel hitless in the series. That's right behind Dave McKay at first. Day off today for Nick Ahmed. Descalso at second, Marte at short. John Jay gets the start in right field. Steven Souza Jr. the day off today. Mentioned Brett Kennedy's major league debut, the 3 consecutive home runs in the 1st inning at Milwaukee 2 starts ago. He was the first pitcher in baseball's modern era to give up 3 consecutive home runs in the first inning of his major league debut. It had not happened in 118 years. Descalso with a leadoff walk. That's tough to bounce back from if you're just a kid in your first big league start.
I didn't actually see that particular highlight, but as I mentioned before, Aguilar, Shaw, and Thames, that's a murderer's row right there. And if you're intimidated or worried about your stuff, they're going to make you pay.
Ketel Marte batting .248 with 10 home runs. Kennedy's second career start did not go much better. It was last Tuesday here against the Angels. Gave up 5 runs, 9 hits, and 5.
He only gave up 1 homer in that game, so huge improvement there.
Yeah. Baby steps. He's another Northeast guy. Went to Atlantic City High School in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Pitched at Fordham.
That might be tough.
Yeah. 11th round pick by the Padres 3 years ago out of Fordham. He was having a great season at AAA El Paso when he was called up. 10-0 in 16 starts. His AAA ERA this year was .272, which is very impressive in the Coast League. Andy Green was saying you don't see many guys that have won pretty much every game they've pitched this year in the PCL. So Kennedy unbeaten in AAA and winless in the big leagues.
Right, Atlantic City was one of my first tastes of what it's like to be a big leaguer.
Really?
At the time, Willie Mays was working for one of the hotels in Atlantic City, and Giants were playing in Philadelphia, and he sent a couple of limos to Philly to pick us up after a game and take us over to Atlantic City.
That's a slow roller to second, and Marte beats it out. Spangenberg had only one play. It kind of died in front of the bag. And the D-backs have first and second, nobody out.
Bottom of the lineup rally starting here. Descalso walks to lead it off. Ketel Marte with a hustle single this time. We're used to talking about hustle doubles for Ketel, but just does beat that one out at first base.
Spangenberg decided he didn't even have enough time to try and tag Descalso coming at him. And Marte is safe at first, so a chance here for Jeff Mathis. D-backs trail at 2-0. Hunter Renfroe, a 2-run homer in the bottom of the first. Mathis gets it by Galvis and into center. Here comes Descalso, and the D-backs are on the board. It's 2-1. RBI single for Mathis.
All right, looking at the pitch charts from Kennedy's first 2 starts at the major league level. Likes his fastball a lot to start counts, especially against left-handers, but Jeff Mathis gets a heater to his liking and bangs it into center field to get the D-backs on the board.
Well, now you've got Zach Greinke coming up. Still first and second, no outs. A run is in. Do you want Zach bunting, or with the way he swings the bat, maybe try to chop one through? We'll see. A .250 hitter this year. He does have 4 RBIs. Myers coming in from third. Remember, Myers is the third baseman. This is an experiment. So if you want to bunt it, that's the place to put it. Here comes Hosmer from first as well. Just bunt it right at Will Myers.
I'll tell you what, the way Will Myers was creeping in that time, you might be able to steal third base behind him. He got an awfully close to home plate that time with nobody behind him to cover the bag. Freddie Galvis was up the middle of the field. And somebody noticed it from that Padres bench, because that time he stayed back just at the cut of the grass.
Greinke pulls the bat back but takes a low strike. There's a look at Myers at third.
Yeah, he started from there but came in about 5 or 6 steps. He was almost halfway to home plate on that first delivery.
No sign of a bunt there from Zach. He looks at a fastball for strike 2. Myers has been taking a lot of ground balls at third with Glenn Hoffman and Josh Johnson for several weeks now. Trying to acclimate himself to this new position. Greinke chases a high fastball and strikes out, so they cannot advance the runners. One down in the second.
All right, talking about Will Myers making the position change to third base, I moved to first base at one point in my career. Bunts are the thing you worry about the most. Ground balls, you can practice that every day, but bunts with a pitcher on the mound, a catcher coming out from behind home plate, knowing the speed of the bunter, knowing the speed of the base runners, that can be a little confusing for a guy playing corner infield for the first time in a long time.
Remember, Robbie Ray in the series opener here Thursday bunted one right by Myers, who was charging in from third. Here's Jay, who flied out to lead off the ball game. Change-up's a strike.
I guess the same could be said for any position. The more things you have to think about, the tougher it's going to be to make the appropriate play. Until you get more experience and go through it more, know your pitcher's ability out there on the mound to field his position.
Yeah, but I'm sure you're right. I mean, you can take grounders until the sun don't shine anymore, but bunts, that's a nuance of that position.
And as I said, it's not just what you do on the bunt play. Where's your shortstop going to be? Where's the second baseman going to be? Where is Eric Hosmer going to be? Is the catcher going to come out from behind the plate and make a play? Do I have a Zach Greinke on the mound that can field bunts on the third base side?
John Jay lines it into the glove of Hosmer, and they double off Marte. Well, the Diamondbacks snake bit, if you will, but they do get one run across. They trail it 2-1. Ball brought to you by T-Mobile. The Rockies sweep in Atlanta. Home runs from Trevor Story, DJ LeMahieu. Arenado knocks in some runs. Cargo follows. Rockies beat the Braves 4-2. So for the moment, the Diamondbacks and Rockies are tied for the NL West lead. And there's more bad news from Seattle, where the Dodgers put up a 5 spot in the first at Safeco Field. Here's a look at the updated division standings. D-backs need a win here to maintain that half-game cushion over Colorado, as Franmil Reyes leads off the San Diego second. Reyes 225, 9 home runs, 0 for 6 in the series. And right now stuck in an 0 for 23 slide. Slider away, it's 2-1. Reyes does have some big time power. This one is on the ground to Ketel Marte at shortstop. Brings up Freddie Galvis. Greinke gave up a long 2-run home run to Hunter Renfroe in the bottom of the first. Renfroe's 14th of the year. D-backs got one back on Mathis's RBI single in the top half of this inning. Galvis at 237 with 10 homers. Galvis hitless in the first 2 games of the series, but last night a pair of hits and RBIs. Switch hitter with some power. He can homer from either side of the plate. 1-1. In fact, earlier this month, Galvis homered in 3 consecutive games. That was just last week. Holding at first. A couple of ground ball outs to start the second for Greinke. Brings up A.J. Ellis. A.J. Ellis, at this point in his career, he's now 37 years old, catching about once a week. Sunday day game after a night game kind of a deal. 289 with a home run. Long-time LA Dodgers catcher. That's going to reach the seats and out of play.
Not about a character for A.J. Ellis to chase a first pitch from Zach Greinke. He's a guy that usually sees a boatload of pitches every at bat. He jokingly said when he was in LA that was the way he could help the team offensively the most, was to take a base on balls.
Discovered in the minors, he said, yeah, I figured out I wasn't that good a hitter, so I better just stop swinging. And he developed a reputation as a very selective hitter and a good on-base percentage guy. And of course was Clayton Kershaw's personal catcher his last few years in LA. Kershaw on the mound for the Dodgers today at Safeco Field, Seattle.
Yeah, you know what Dirty Harry Callahan said? A man has got to know his limitations. A.J. Ellis figured that out in the minor leagues.
Wouldn't bite at the slider. Of course, Ellis would have caught Zach Greinke many times. They're former teammates with the Dodgers. Swing and a miss. The foul tip. Mathis hangs on. We'll head to the third. D-backs trail at 2-1.
David Peralta due up second this inning. 0-2 since coming back from that stomach illness, a pinch hit appearance last night, and then earlier his at-bat in this game, of course. And David, he's such a staple in that dugout with the energy, everything that he brings. It was strange not seeing him there 2 nights ago. So when I had the chance to talk to him today, I said, what was it like being away from the ballpark for a night? He said, well, I really couldn't get out of bed. I was feeling pretty terrible, but I felt like I had to do something. You know, he is so glad to be back. And guys, we know what he brings, the energy, kind of the pregame routine with the guys and even during the game. But when you don't see it, you really notice that it's not there.
Yeah, Torey Lovullo, Jody credits David with that all the time. He's our energy guy. He's the tone setter in many ways. AJ leads off the third against Brett Kennedy. D-backs have had at least 2 base runners on against Kennedy in each of the first 2 innings, but so far only 1 run across. Kennedy is the 10th different Padre pitcher this year to make his major league debut.
Wow.
When things are going well, that doesn't happen. But he is number 10, just his 3rd major league start today. High fastball at 93, 1-2. Some of those guys are relievers. They're not all starting pitchers, but it's been that kind of year for Andy Green in San Diego once again.
It goes without saying that's a rarity when you can get through the season with just your 5 starting pitchers. I think Bob Melvin's team in Seattle one year went the whole season with just 5 starting pitchers. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, Greeny 49-77 this year, the worst record in the National League. They're 20 games behind the Diamondbacks right now. And they're taking a look at next year. They've got Villanueva playing some second. We've seen Myers at third throughout this series. Getting a look at some of their young pitchers.
We're talking about the battle in Melvin's. Oakland up 2-0 on Houston again today. Wow. They would take over sole possession of first place with a victory today.
That's a great story. Houston is in a free fall right now. AJ able to lay off that slider. Full count, 3-2. Peralta will be next.
Yeah, my staff's right on it, partner. Back in 2003, Bob Melvin got through the entire season in Seattle with Jamie Moyer, Ryan Franklin, Joel Pinheiro, Freddie Garcia, and Gil Mesh. 5 starters for an entire season. That's amazing.
Well, we've heard about Brett Kennedy's changeup. It's been a good pitch for him, and it's looked good so far today. Strikes out AJ with a changeup right there. Brings up Peralta. David a strikeout victim his first time. Peralta hits one deep right field, and that ball is gone. Welcome back, David Peralta. We are tied at 2. David Peralta's sizzling month of August continues. That's his 7th home run this month and his 4th home run on this road trip.
No marine layer that time. No humidor that time. David Peralta takes a low, looked like a fastball tailing down low and away. Got the barrel on it high in the air to right center field. No doubt about it. That cleared the old fence.
Here's Goldie. Kennedy fell behind against Goldie in the first, put him on intentionally. A free jumbo jack by Peralta. Jumbo jack tomorrow. Jack in the box with the purchase of a large drink. Goldie wound up getting the intentional pass to set a new D-backs franchise record, reaching base safely in 10 straight plate appearances. He had shared the previous mark of 9 with Mark Reynolds, Raul Mondesi, and Greg Colburn. Goldie has also extended his own D-backs record, reaching base safely in now 38 consecutive road games. This is launched down the line. Will it stay fair? That is way up there and foul. Onto the roof of the Western Metal Supply Company building. Wow. You don't see too many hit up there. That is unbelievable.
Guy under the umbrella saying, "What'd I do? Incoming." there.
Morning.
Yeah,
Man,
just
man.
Wow.
I like targets at a ballpark. We talked about that in Texas with the upper deck in right field. I like targets where you can say, geez, I saw one hit up there one time in batting practice. Goldie goes down on strikes to end the streak.
Kennedy goes to the slider, gets his 4th strikeout. That was fun. Most fun you're going to have with a foul ball. Right up there, right under the umbrella. Eduardo Escobar flied out his first time. Yeah, I'd like to see an architect come up with a design of a Brenly Field.
Oh, that'd be fun, yeah.
All kinds of targets.
You'd have windmills, dragons' mouths that open and close.
Hit it here signs everywhere.
Well, I mean, everybody that played ball as a kid, you know, on some of the youth fields or back fields or behind the middle school or whatever it is, you know, there was always stories. Oh, man, Joe Johnson, you remember he hit that one over the gas station.
Yeah, it's one thing to have all the StatCast stuff and know the differences in
Yeah.
the feet and the inches and all that stuff, but it's another thing to have visible targets that you don't need to measure.
Old Tiger Stadium. Reggie Jackson hitting the light tower in the All-Star game. We talked about that. Willie Stargell hit one over the pavilion in right field at Dodger Stadium. You know, when you've got landmarks to say how far a ball goes, you don't really need StatCast.
All those broken doors and windows at Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
Full count on Escobar, 3-2 with Descalso on deck. This one has a chance, but it's yanked foul. Escobar's got 3 home runs on this trip. Reaches out and pokes it right to Myers at third. Double, triple clutch, and Escobar beats it out. Myers was slow to get a grip on that baseball. We saw the triple pump down there, and too slow to get Escobar.
It looked like he fielded that ball really deep in his stance, almost back between his legs. And it took him a while, a couple of crow hops to find the grip, patting the glove, and by the time he gets it across there, Escobar's just beating it out for a hustle infield single.
Well, that was hit right to him. He didn't even have to move. Descalso walked and scored to start the second. That's got to be, we talked about how tricky the bunt can be when you're new at third. The one that's hit right to you when you've got all that time to think about the throw. That seemed to creep into the back of Myers' mind on that one. This is slicing along the line, headed toward foul ground, and nobody can get there. Nice sliding try by Galvis.
Well, I love Eduardo Escobar. He wasn't assuming anything. If that ball lands on the foul line, he'll score. He was busting it from first base that time.
Yeah, he was all the way over by third. 0-2 on Daniel.
You know, we say these things sometimes about Ketel Marte and Eduardo Escobar and Goldie, how they hustle and they don't assume anything, and that should be the norm. You would expect guys when you're on the field to go as hard as you can just in case.
Fly ball to center for Jankowski. David Peralta hits his 23rd of the year, and the D-backs get the equalizer. We're tied at 2 in San Diego. Oh, gorgeous day to be out on the water here in San Diego, where the D-backs and Padres are tied at 2. The pitcher, Brett Kennedy, leads off the home half of the third against Zach Greinke. David Peralta's 23rd of the year has tied the ball game. And Kennedy, the number 9 hitter, starts the San Diego third against Greinke, who's set down now 4 in a row. Zach ended the bottom of the second inning with a strikeout of A.J. Ellis. Kennedy just his 4th major league at bat. And with that strikeout of Ellis, it was 2,396 for Greinke, tying him with the great Sandy Koufax on baseball's all-time list. And he drops that slow curve in there to jump ahead of Koufax. He's got more strikeouts in his career than Sandy Koufax.
How about that? Seems appropriate that he got the one to move past Sandy Koufax with a curveball. That was Sandy's signature pitch.
Good call. Next on the list, Kevin Brown. Now he's tied with Kevin Brown.
He'll have to throw a sinker to get that strikeout.
You are top of your game today. Jankowski doubled to start us off. Got thrown out attempting to steal third by Jeff Mathis. Just the 5th time all year Jankowski's been caught stealing. It was a bumpy first for Zach. He gave up the leadoff double to Jankowski. Hosmer had an infield single. Renfroe homered, hit one 1.5 miles out to left center. But Greinke has settled in nicely ever since. Right to Descalso. 2 outs. Well, earlier Jody was talking about maybe Torey Lovullo would have a shorter leash on some of these starting pitchers. And we've seen guys like Robbie Ray and Zach Godley and certainly Zach Greinke have an early bump or two and then lock it in and just get on this run where they just retire one batter after another. And maybe this is one of those days here for Greinke. We've certainly seen him do that before. Hopefully that's the case. Ahead of Myers 0-1. D-backs with 3 defenders on the left side of the infield. Goldie all by himself over there, almost midway between first and second. StatCast AI powered by AWS. There's Goldie all by himself on the right-hand side. You mentioned, Bob, Greinke's changeup has not been the put-away pitch recently that it has been for most of the year. Just saw him bounce a slider there. He's been going to that slider more and more often lately.
On to it again right here.
That one is smothered by Descalso. What a play. No chance to make a throw on Myers. That was a bullet, tried to knock it right through the overshift. Into a 2-out single.
Nice play by Daniel to get to that ball. It was hit so hard. I think he had a little bit more time than he realized. Tried to throw from his knees, and that throw really tailed away from Goldie, allowing Myers to reach with a 2-out infield single.
Greinke had retired 6 in a row. Brings up Hosmer, who singled and scored in the first. So Hosmer's now hit safely in 8 straight games. Tried to check. There's that first pitch changeup. Padres, as always, for their Sunday home games, wearing their camouflage jerseys, Military Appreciation Day. Big naval contingent taking part in our pregame ceremonies. Broken bat tapper to shortstop for Marte. And Greinke strands the 2-out single. We head to the 4th at Petco Park, tied at 2. Something all over Seattle starter Roedy Salias. A 5-run LA first at Safeco Field. That's where they are right now, top 3. Rockies have already won. They beat the Braves in Atlanta 4-2. So the D-backs tied for the NL West lead with Colorado. They began the day today 2 up on the Dodgers. Ketel Marte, former Mariner, leads off the 4th. Marte singled his first time up, his 3rd hit in the series. Galvis, top shelf, takes a base hit away.
Anytime a D-back score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free crunchy beef tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at those participating locations.
Jeff Mathis got a first pitch fastball and lined it into left center for an RBI single in the 2nd. Jeff had an RBI single in his first at bat when he started Friday's game here against the Padres.
Always thinking. Now, Jeff Mathis is not the guy you would expect to try to bunt for a base hit, but he knows who's playing third base. He knows if he gets on base ahead of Zach Greinke, it might create an opportunity for the Diamondbacks to find a way to push across a run in this inning, so he's thinking about bunting for a base hit. I mean, Myers is, I don't know, 15 feet or so behind the bag down there at third base. It wouldn't even have to be a great bunt.
Well back there, 2-1. Mathis knocks it down the line. He's 2 for 2. Renfroe gets to it quickly. A 1-out single. Now we'll see if maybe Zach Greinke will bunt it down there toward Will Myers. D-backs now with 6 hits against rookie Brett Kennedy, making just his 3rd major league start. Myers in a couple of steps at third base.
Boy, Zach Greinke at bats with a runner on base are always problematic for a defense. They don't know if he's going to bunt or swing away.
Here come the corners. He bunts it at Myers, who was charging in, goes to second, and the Padres can't turn 2. Greinke safe at first. Well, Myers, no problems there. Well done. Cut down the lead man.
Pretty good bunt by Zach Greinke that time. He gets to it. You notice how he turned his body, so when he picked up the ball, he was already ready to throw to second base. Fortunately, Zach getting down the line enough to beat that relay throw.
Bench coach Mark McGuire. No challenge from the Padres. So here's Jay, 0 for 2. Lined into a double play his last time up. I mean, he must have really hated that sign. That must have been the worst sign ever. I don't want to throw that pitch. I'm going to throw it over to first.
Either that or they've seen the scouting report and they know Zach is likely to take off for second base if you don't pay attention to him.
Jay 0 for 2 so far. He had a couple of hits last night. 5 hits so far in the series for John. AJ last night singled twice, scored twice. Kennedy already at 70 pitches, 42 strikes. With 2 outs in the 4th. Look out. Ooh, boy, that almost really got AJ. That was coming right at his head. Yeah, go stand over there.
We talked about this in past games when you go to the instructional league and watch the youngsters play. A lot of times with a left-handed hitter at the plate, rather than stand in the third base on deck circle, they'll walk over to the first base side of the field because the backstops are so close to home plate.
Galvis at shortstop. Bottom 4 from Petco Park. D-backs and Padres tied at 2.
We're tied at 2 here at Petco's. We head to the bottom half of the 4th inning. Time to take a look at this day in baseball history, brought to you by Geico. We go back to the 0-1 season. Greg Colburn pinch hit home run in a 13-6 win over the Cubs. The 13th pinch hit homer of the season, breaking the National League record set by the '57 Reds. And we went on to hit one more after that. So 14 pinch hit home runs on the season. 5 by David DeLucci, 5 by Rubio Durazo, 3 by Greg Colburn, and 1 by Danny Batista.
Well, it's just a matter of the manager knowing who to select as the pinch hitter. That's all that is. That's just managerial smarts right there paying off.
Yeah, but good players available on the bench is what it is.
Hunter Renfroe, a long home run to left center off Zach Greinke in the 1st. His 14th of the year and his 2nd home run in this series. Renfroe, you might recall, had a 3-homer game against the D-backs here last September. He's been hot lately. Renfroe, just a couple of weeks ago, hit home runs in 4 consecutive games. Once at Wrigley Field and then 3 straight games at Miller Park, Milwaukee. Fastball velocity for Zach has been down today. It's been on the uptick lately. Last half dozen starts or so, we've seen consistent 91s, 92s. Today more like 88, 89. There's the slow curve. Renfroe doesn't bite. It's 3-1. Spangenberg on deck, then Franmil Reyes. At third, Escobar spins in front of Marte and makes a nice play. That was a pirouette.
Well, for an accomplished infielder like Escobar, he realizes that spinning that direction, it's much easier to get something on the throw than if he tries to spin back to his right and then throw back across his body to first base. Much easier play, much prettier too.
Spangenberg struck out looking to win the first. That's a fair ball. Goldie's got it. Greinke beats him to the bag. What a play. A foot race to first against Spangenberg, who's got some speed. He can run, but Greinke won the sprint.
Yeah, usually Greinke beats the base runner by a wide margin over there at first base, but got caught standing on the mound that time. Even he is amazed at some of the plays Goldie can make over there at first base. Ultimately wins that foot race to the bag.
Yeah, that sure seemed off the bat like it might be a double down the line. Instead, its base is empty. 2 down for Reyes, who grounded out his first time up. There's a fastball at 89, 0-1. Reyes is an enormous person, 6'5", 275. 23-year-old rookie. Got the slow curve off the fastball, and it's 0-2. Reyes was and has been an RBI machine in the minor leagues. Still trying to get his feet underneath him at this level. Lays off a slider.
Interesting note from the Reds-Giants game today. The Reds beat the Giants 11-4. Eugenio Suarez homered against Andrew Suarez.
Well, the Reds have been a pain in the neck against some of these NL West teams. They swept the Dodgers earlier this year. We lost 2 of 3 to start this road trip at Great American Ballpark. Now they beating up on the Giants. That curve was way out there, 2-2. Galvis would be next. Swing and a miss. Went to the slider for the strikeout. That's his 4th. His second 1-2-3 inning today. We're tied at 2 at Petco Park. With us in San Diego. MLB.TV now available at a lower price, $49.99. Lets you watch every out-of-market regular season game and get a free subscription to At Bat Premium. Visit MLB.TV. Take advantage of this special offer. Tied at 2 as A.J. Pollock leads off the 5th against rookie Brett Kennedy. Making just his 3rd career major league start. He's 0-2 so far. Padres had the early lead. Hunter Renfroe, a long home run off Zach Greinke in the bottom of the 1st inning. D-backs got one in the second on a Mathis RBI single, one in the third on a Peralta solo homer. AJ has doubled and struck out. 2 runs, 6 hits for the Diamondbacks. 2 runs, 4 hits for the Padres. D-backs have left 5. Bullpen will get busy for Andy Green. Left-hander Strom. We saw him earlier in this series. Back on Thursday. Popped up behind third. Galvis drifting out there, calling off Renfroe. 1 out. What a month of August it's been for David Peralta. He's hitting over .390 this month with 7 home runs. His homer in the third was his 4th on this road trip and his 23rd of the year. And as you said, Bob, that got over the old fence here at Petco Park, which was the pink home run deck sign. Our Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing cool play the game.
Went down and golfed an outside pitch over the old fence, a long way to right center.
That's where the balls used to die out there on some cool nights here in San Diego when this park first opened.
Ryan Klesko cursing the architects of Petco Park.
Slamming his bat in the ground as he jogged up to first on a routine fly ball out. Broken bat bouncer. Hosmer picks it. That's why he's got all those gold gloves, 4 of them. 2 outs in the 5th. Well, here's Goldie. He was intentionally walked after Kennedy fell behind in the count in the first. That set a new D-backs record, reaching base safely in 10 consecutive plate appearances. He struck out his last time up. Freddie Galvis having an equipment issue.
Yeah, I think he popped a lace on the webbing of his glove out there.
He's just walking off the field.
Yeah, he was trying to fix it, but apparently couldn't repair it quickly enough, so somebody had to run up to the clubhouse and get his backup glove.
So he's going to get one hit right to him, right?
You know he is.
It's coming right here.
I'm sure our fans are well aware of how particular players are with their game gloves. You know, don't touch it. Don't even look at it. Now he's had to go to his backup glove.
Galvis plays so often, I'm not surprised he wore out his first glove. Freddie Galvis, no defender, has played more innings in the field this year. 126 starts, the most in the major leagues at any position. Galvis is out there for 9 innings every day. 2-0 on Goldie. Got a fastball in. Goldie riding an 11-game hitting streak. 7 of those have been multi-hit games.
Watch his foul ball by Goldie on the pitch before. I think it hit our RoboCam behind home plate. Look out.
Oh
my.
Just broke.
Earthquake.
He broke the Padres Moss cam. Goldie on board for the second time today. 2-out walk brings up Eduardo Escobar. There it is.
Still functional.
Escobar has flied out in single. Eduardo Escobar now 18 games with the Diamondbacks since he was acquired from the Twins. A.J. Ellis out there to pay Kennedy a visit. Escobar as a D-back hitting .318 with 12 RBIs. So to say he's been productive since he got to Arizona would be a big understatement. 6 doubles, 3 home runs.
And that's just the offensive part of it. His total game, I mean, everything he does on the field is what you would hope for. I mean, the guy runs the bases well. Doesn't have base stealing speed, but he runs the bases extremely well. Very aware of what's going on around him on the field. Made some great defensive plays down there at third base.
Pop this one up. Galvis with that backup glove. Looking up into the sun. D-backs, Padres even at 2. Petco Park, D-backs and Padres tied at 2. Calling all Wildcats. D-backs U of A night is coming up September 6th. You can get this custom D-backs U of A cap and a discounted baseline reserve ticket, all for just $25 with our special event ticket pack. You can find it at dbacks.com/Wildcats. Freddie Galvis leads off the Padre fifth against Zach Greinke. Galvis 0 for 1 so far. You know, Bob, I stopped by our mailbox before we left for Cincinnati to start this road trip. We have a lot of D-backs fans writing us some letters. So I grabbed a bunch on the way out the door, took them on the plane, and went through them. I found one that I just, frankly, is very disturbing.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's very upsetting. It's a letter we got from Connor from Gilbert. Connor from Gilbert, and he writes, "Dear Stephen Beebe, I watch your broadcasts every night." Goes on to say some nice things, but his question is, have you ever considered having the world famous Leo Gilmartin on your program?
Whoa.
If not, you should! Exclamation point. Thank you, go D-backs. Well, sincerely, Connor from Gilbert, and he signs it, president and founder of the Leo Gilmartin fan club. Now there is the great Leo Gilmartin, producer of the popular Snake Talk radio program, working a D-backs radio right now with the Moral Compass Mike Farron and Tom Candiotti. Leo has a fan. That idea is disturbing enough, but the other part of it is Connor from Gilbert on the letter did not include a return address, and I think we need to have this letter dusted for Leo's fingerprints.
Ooh, get a handwriting analyst.
Yes, good thought right there. The penmanship is a little suspect, frankly. But if you are indeed Connor from Gilbert, Connor, thank you very much for your letter. What do you think about the idea of having Leo make an appearance on the TV broadcast?
I think there are several FCC regulations that would prevent that from ever happening.
Thank goodness. Greinke reaches out and snags that one. He set down 5 in a row. Well, Leo, Connor has very important duties over the course of the broadcast game. He's got to make sure the radio gets on and off the air. Mike Farron filling in on this trip for the Governor Greg Schulte, who's back with us Tuesday at home against the Angels. Here's A.J. Ellis. But thanks, Connor, for your letter, and thanks everybody for writing us. Drop us a line. Steve and Bob at Chase Field, 401 East Jefferson Street in Phoenix, 85004, and we'll try and read your letter on the air. I think we have to turn this one in for evidence, though.
Absolutely. Put it in one of those big baggies and give it to forensics.
The sad part is I showed the letter to Leo because I smelled a rat, frankly. And he would not claim any knowledge about the letter at all, but he did ask for it when we were done because I think he wants to put it on the wall in the radio booth.
Yeah, we were talking about A.J. Ellis earlier and his ability to get on base via the base on balls. For catchers this season with at least 100 bats, he has the highest on base percentage, 394. Francisco Cervelli not far behind at 390.
Well, he's still getting it done at the age of 37, A.J. Ellis. Although he's not playing a whole lot these days, as we mentioned, only 10 starts since the end of June. Tried the curveball, missed away. It's 2-2. Greinke, since the Hunter Renfroe two-run home run in the first inning, has only allowed one base runner. This one is tapped to short, backhanded by Ketel Marte. Tough throw, and he made it look easy.
Nice throw on the move that time, running toward third base, throwing back against his body. Got a lot on that one.
Well, that's the end of the day for Brett Kennedy, as Jose Pirela will pinch hit. Pirela hitting .250 with 3 homers. He is hitless in the series, although he has walked twice. We've seen him both in left field and at second base.
After two, to say the least, subpar outings for Brett Kennedy, I think Andy Green just wanted to get him out of there on a positive. 5 innings, gave up 6 hits and 2 runs in this ball game.
Yeah, Kennedy walked 3, struck out 4, just his 3rd major league start. Fastball misses away. It's 1-1. Pirela, 2 for 17 as a pinch hitter this year off the bench for Andy Green. Greinke starting to get up into the low 90s with that fastball a bit more consistently than he was earlier in the ball game. Greinke so far has struck out 4. He's not walked a batter. Waves at that slow curve. Mathis will clean it up. And Zach Greinke has retired 7 straight. He's got 5 strikeouts. We're tied at 2. D-backs and Padres even at 2 as we start the 6th inning. Don't forget, fans, if you can't watch the D-backs on TV, stream the games live on your mobile device. Use Fox Sports Go. It's brought to you locally by your Valley Honda dealers. Download the free app and take Fox Sports Arizona and your D-backs with you wherever you go. I know you and Joan got out there to walking along the water the other day.
We went over to the USS Midway and had some lunch over there at a local restaurant and walked back along the waterfront. It was just an absolutely beautiful day here in San Diego.
Yeah, they got a nice walking path along there. Lots of restaurants and stops. Descalso starts the 6th against the new pitcher for the Padres, left-hander Matt Strahm. I saw him in the series opener Thursday night. He worked the 9th inning of that game, a 1-2-3 inning, in fact, with a couple of strikeouts. His 29th appearance of the year. He's worked both as a starter and reliever. He's made 5 starts for Andy Green this year.
We've talked about this Padres bullpen throughout this series. They've done a really nice job even trading away a couple of their more high-profile relievers at the trade deadline. Strahm, a guy that has only given up 27 hits in 45 innings, punched out 47.
When you look at the names, and they don't jump out at you. Kirby Yates and Winginter and Strahm and Robert Stock, who throws 100. The veteran Craig Stammen, Phil Maton, Diaz, but they've done a nice job here. Daniel walked and scored to lead off the 2nd. Flying out to center his last time up. That's a bullet down the line, but foul. Daniel, a .255 hitter against lefties this year, does have 3 home runs versus left-handers. Daniel Descalso played his college ball at Cal Davis, and according to the Padres, grew up with a poster of Mark McGwire on his bedroom wall as a kid. There's Big Mac, the bench coach here for Andy Green. Daniel out of Mountain View, California. Full count, 3-2. Lays off that one from Strahm, a breaking ball. And Descalso, a leadoff walk for the 2nd time of the ball game. Here's Marte, who has singled and lined out to short. We've seen Bob Marte lately take some big time hacks. He's trying to hit home runs, it looks like, maybe a little too often.
Yeah, sometimes that happens when a guy that you don't consider to be a quote unquote home run hitter, they hit one and all of a sudden they try to hit a 2nd one and a 3rd one and a 4th one.
Marte, there's another one. Marte has homered 6 times as a right-hand batter this year. Torey Lovullo was talking about that with us this morning about Goldie and what he's done on this road trip, hitting over 500. And you know, he said the thing about Goldie is there's just so much comfort with his approach. He just stays in the middle of the diamond. Once in a while he'll go to the opposite field, but he's not up there trying to hit home runs all the time. And what happens, he hits home runs all the time and hits 500 on this trip. Now you got Marte up there swinging for the fences every time. It's quite a contrast.
Well, hopefully the answer to that is that Goldie's had enough at bats and enough experience at the major league level to know what works and what doesn't work. Ketel Marte's still learning.
And Ketel can hit some long home runs. We've seen him do that, certainly. He's up there taking some cuts and he strikes out.
Yeah, I always heard from hitting coaches, it's okay to swing hard, just make sure you see the ball. If your head is flying off, you're not seeing the ball all the way into the hitting zone. I mean, these are very hittable fastballs, 92, 93, 94, all on the inside part of the plate, usually right where he likes it. Looks like he just didn't get a good look at him that time. Our Nationwide Vision Center's eye on the game.
Yeah, and when Marte is really swinging it well, he does not see a fastball. Here's Mathis, who was singled twice. He's knocked in a run. There's a fastball right down the middle. D-backs 2 runs on 6 hits. They've left 6. Padres 2 runs, 4 hits. They've only left 1. Just nibbling away with that off-speed pitch, 1-1. Doesn't get the call from Quinn Walcott. Jeff Mathis, his second start in this series. He's got 3 hits. D-backs for the moment tied with Colorado for the NL West lead. The Rockies won in Atlanta today. Dodgers are winning at Seattle 6-1. They're in the 4th at Safeco Field. Kershaw pitching for LA. Pitcher spot behind Mathis. Zach Greinke out there, the on-deck circle. Greinke's given up only 1 hit since the 1st inning. Late time granted by Quinn Walcott back there.
Now, Strom has been taking quite a bit of time after coming up into the set position, just staring at Daniel Descalso over there at first base. A couple of times I thought perhaps time should have been called just to protect the runner.
Still 2-2. Fastball in, full count. D-backs hitters have drawn 4 bases on balls today. 1 has scored. That was Descalso to start the 2nd. Scored on Mathis's RBI single. 3-2 to Jeff. This is out to Renfroe in left. Two outs for Greinke. Brewers won at St. Louis. The Cubs lost at Pittsburgh. National League Central race. 0-2. Curveball fouled back.
Breaking news.
Yeah.
The Red Sox lost a ball game.
No, that can't be right.
Got shut out by Tampa Bay 2-0 today.
And I saw Chris Sale had to go on the DL.
Mild shoulder irritation, they're calling it.
Chased a fastball, and Strahm gets his second strikeout. Bottom 6, still tied at 2.
Next, we're going to look ahead to the next series, and we go back to some interleague play at Chase Field. An off day tomorrow, but Patrick Corbin will start for the D-backs on Tuesday against the LA Angels, and then Clay Buchholz on Wednesday. And with an off day Monday and Thursday this week, Torey Lovullo said to expect some tweaking of the rotation going forward, and that might mean a little bit of a shuffle for the weekend series against Seattle, and then into division play as the D-backs will go on the road the next week to face the Giants and the Dodgers. And guys, he mentioned this is not about rest for any particular guy. This is about matchups and winning these games, giving the team the best chance to win.
Yeah, you get 2 off days in 1 week. That's a rarity in a Major League Baseball schedule, Jody. So a chance to do some tweaking. Travis Jankowski, the center fielder, leads off the Padres' 6th inning against Zach Greinke. Greinke has retired the last 7 batters he's faced, and 13 of the last 14. Padres have 1 base hit since Hunter Renfroe's home run in the 1st. A single by Myers in the 3rd. Jankowski has doubled and grounded out.
Well, Zach Greinke gave up 3 hits and 2 runs in that first inning. In the following 4 innings, he's given up 1 hit. It was on the infield. He's gotten 8 ground ball outs, no fly ball outs. Not unusual for Zach to, as we've talked about in the past, kind of look for it in that first inning, see what's working, what's not working, and then settle into a real nice rhythm after that. And it certainly looks like that's what he's done here today.
2-2. Fastball fouled away. Top of the order here for the Padres. Jankowski, Myers, and Hosmer, 1, 2, and 3. Greinke so far 2 runs on 4 hits. He's got 5 strikeouts. He's not walked a batter. Another fastball for Jankowski. Travis Jankowski out of Lancaster, PA. He's got that San Diego look for sure, as you always point out.
Jeff Spicoli.
I know that dude. Looks like he'd fit in nicely here on the beaches, the surfing shores of San Diego.
He looks like the kind of guy that would ride a scooter to the ballpark with his flip-flops and his board shorts.
He was a first-round pick by the Padres in 2012 out of Stony Brook. On the ground, another ground ball out here for Greinke. Descalso cleans that up, and Zach has retired 8 straight. Will Myers has grounded out singled, 1 for 2.
Will Myers had an infield hit back in that 3rd inning. The 100th infield hit of the season for the Padres, which only ranks him 5th in the National League. It seems like a lot of infield hits.
We've got some guys that are pretty decent runners, and obviously Jankowski. Myers has been a 20 stolen base guy. Hosmer can run a little bit. Spangenberg's got good speed. Galvis. I guess that kind of makes sense. There's the defensive lineup against him. Another slider from Greinke, 1-1. Although Myers has been beat up again this year. He was out much of April with a nerve problem in his right arm, then missed 2 months with a left oblique strain. Just came back from a 9-game stint on the DL with a bone bruise in his left foot. Curveball misses away. That's in front of Glenn Hoffman at 3rd. It's been a big week of Hoffman's.
Sure has been.
As they celebrate Trevor's induction into baseball's Hall of Fame.
We had ceremonial first pitches by Trevor's mother, his wife, his father-in-law, and Trevor himself.
They had a statue unveiling yesterday. They handed out miniature statues today. Hall of Fame plaques yesterday. Trevor Hoffman jerseys the other night. 4 days of Hoffman Palooza here. Full count 3-2. There's the statue. They debuted that before the game last night. Out there beyond center field. Padres have done a nice job out there. They've got that hill. I think it's $5, right, to get out there on that grassy hill.
Sounds right.
Now, less than 10 anyway. There's the unveiling yesterday. So you've got the Trevor Hoffman statue now, the Tony Gwynn statue out there. You've got the grassy slope. You can plop a blanket down there and see most of the ballpark. Got some areas for the kids, wiffle ball fields and stuff. That's the first base on balls issued by Greinke today. They'll deal with Hosmer.
And we also want to recognize the Padres Foundation. They partnered with 4 different military educational foundations to award scholarships to deserving youth, fallen military members or first responders. Randy Jones has a scholarship, Trevor Hoffman, Tony Gwynn, and Jerry Coleman. And all the recipients got their scholarships today here at the ballpark.
The late, great Colonel Jerry Coleman.
Oh, doctor.
One of my favorite quotes of all time. Rich Folkers is throwing up in the bullpen. Here's Hosmer. He has singled and grounded out. He scored a run. Came home on the Renfroe homer in the 1st. This is the Jerry Coleman broadcast level here at Petco Park. He flew planes with Ted Williams. Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center.
Tremendously entertaining man.
Greinke approaching 90 pitches. 1 out in the 6th.
I know I've told the story in the past, but when I got fired in 2004, I went home, grabbed a clean pair of underwear and a toothbrush, jumped in the car, and drove here to San Diego. My son Michael was playing in a youth tournament here, and thought it best just to get out of town for a while. So driving over here to San Diego, listening to Jerry Coleman on the radio. It was quite a treat. Not getting fired, but listening to Jerry Coleman.
Had some great broadcasters here in San Diego. The great Ted Leitner, of course, the late Dick Enberg.
Myers takes off for second. The throw is not in time. He's got his 8th stolen base.
Pretty good jump against Zach Greinke, and Jeff Mathis had to reach to his left to receive that pitch. Always tougher to get off an accurate throw when your shoulders are wide open trying to throw to second base. Myers hooks that bag with his left hand and hangs on for dear life.
So he's in scoring position now. 1 out, a 1-2 count on Hosmer. Greinke 90 pitches, 56 strikes. Here comes Mathis. No one warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. Greinke made the last out in the top half of this inning. So his spot not coming up for a while. Big slow curve, and Zach gets his 6th strikeout.
There's so many options if you're a hitter what to look for against Zach Greinke. Couple of fastballs right in the middle of the zone. Off the zone away with a big fastball. There's that slow curve at 70 miles an hour. Just can't stay back enough. Our Nationwide Vision Center's eye on the game.
Renfroe has knocked in both Padre runs. A long home run to left center off Greinke in the first. He's homered twice in this series. Knocks that into center. Here comes Myers. And it's 3-2 San Diego. Renfroe has knocked in all 3 Padre runs.
Appeared to be a changeup belt high out over the plate. Renfroe didn't get all of it, but enough of it to guide it out there into center field. AJ's throw is late and offline. The Padres take a lead.
Brings up Corey Spangenberg. He has struck out, grounded out 0 for 2. D-backs have out hit San Diego 6-5, but they trail it 3-2. Fastball at 88 is strike 1. Zach Greinke trying to snap a 3-start losing streak and now trails at 3-2. Greinke's last win came against these Padres at Petco Park July 27th. Gave up 1 run in 7 innings in that outing. The only run he allowed was a Manuel Margot home run. Vandenberg lays off the change. It's 2-2. Franmil Reyes on deck. Called strike 3. The fastball is there. Will Myers a walk and a stolen base. Renfroe the RBI. It's 3-2 San Diego. Padres 3-2. Fans Hispanic Heritage Day presented by Bud Light just around the corner, coming up Saturday, September 8 at Chase Field. Enjoy a pregame D-backs APS Fiesta, including food, live music, and more. Plus, the first 20,000 fans with us get this awesome Ketel Marte Luchador bobblehead, courtesy of Pepsi. Get your tickets at dbacks.com. Matt Strom, the left-hander, back out there, his second inning of work. John Jay leads it on. Zach Greinke trails at 3-2. Defensive changes for Andy Green. Manuel Margot takes over in center. Travis Jankowski slides over to right, replacing Franmil Reyes. And sure enough, first one is right at Margot. Jankowski now in right field on a cloud in the sky overhead, bright sunshine. AJ doubled in the first. He's 1 for 3. Slow curveball caught the corner, 0-1. Diamondback bullpen. Brad Ziegler again. Brad has worked each of the last 2 games of this series. Zach Greinke went 6 innings, gave up 3 runs, 5 hits, walked 1, struck out 7. Another fastball up, fouled straight back. Padres bullpen is busy as well. There's Craig Stammen. We saw him in the ball game last night. He worked 2 innings through 19 pitches.
One of the best sliders we've seen from a right-hander in a long time from Craig Stammen last night. He was dealing.
Yeah, worked a pair of 1, 2, 3 innings in the 8th and 9th. Retired all 6 he faced with 3 strikeouts. He's been good this year. AJ strikes out. That slider in there. Second strikeout for Strong. Or pardon me, third. Here's Peralta, who homered in the 3rd, his 23rd of the year. Matt Strom walked the first batter he faced when he came on to start the 6th inning. That was Descalso. He's retired all 5 since. David, a .240 hitter versus lefties this year with 5 homers. Knocks that one up the middle. Galvis gets to it, spins and throws. And Peralta stumbles over the bag at first. He's in there. Hopefully David is okay.
Boy, max effort on both ends of that play. Freddie Galvis making the diving stop up the middle, throwing from his rear end. David busting it down the line so hard he goes into a head first slide after he hits the base.
Tripped over the bag.
Wow.
He's all right. Here comes Andy Green. He's going to go get his left-hander out of there with Goldie coming up. We'll keep it right here for the moment after our ball game today. Up next on Fox Sports Arizona, the 2018 debut of Cup of Coffee with Steven Souza Jr. Here's a preview.
Yeah, I love laying out. Obviously, I'm trying to be a little more careful now because, you know, I dove so many times and nothing ever happened. And the spring training was a little scary that it could end just like that.
Have you talked to Tori? Has Tori talked to you about, hey, let's pull back just a little bit?
Yeah, Goldie, and I think kind of everyone kind of gently and kindly kind of said their piece of like, hey, we don't want you to, you know, not play with energy or not play hard, but maybe just a little bit smarter, you know, maybe just pick your spots a little bit better.
What did Goldie do? Like what Goldie, we hear all the time about he's the leader in the clubhouse, and you see that in so many different ways, but when the doors are closed, what's that like?
When he comes and he wants to say something to you, you know, he doesn't say this stuff often, and so when he comes,
it means something.
Yeah. And he also asks for permission, so we kind of told each other, hey, you know, hold me accountable. If you see something to me, say something. He said the same thing, vice versa. He just kind of said, like, you know, you're more valuable, obviously, on the field than on the field. And, you know, we need you, you know, every game, not just for one play. And so maybe there's a couple plays where I might be able to. It's not gonna change the game.
Right.
You know, maybe you preserve your body a little bit better. And that really resonated with me, and I've kind of taken that a little bit.
Cup of Coffee with Steven Souza Jr. debuts right after our ball game, immediately following D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. Well, Goldie will be the hitter. New pitcher for the Padres, the right-hander Craig Stammen, who retired all 6 he faced in the ball game last night. He did not face Goldie. Stammen's 56th appearance of the year.
As you mentioned, 3 strikeouts in his 2 innings of work last night, a couple of easy ground balls and a lazy fly ball to center field. He made quick work of the D-backs offense in his 2 innings last night.
Yeah, Stammen wound up as the winning pitcher in that ball game, his 6th win last night after the Villanueva walk-off. So here's Goldie. He has struck out, walked twice, once intentionally. Peralta's the runner at first and 2 outs. D-backs down 3-2. Goldie with an 11-game hitting streak, batting nearly .440 during his 11-game streak.
Right now he is 17 for 34 on this road trip, a .500 batting average.
Goldie with 2 more walks in the ball game today since he came to the major leagues in 2012. Most games with 2 or more walks. Goldie's 4th on the list with 137. Joey Votto has 171, which is not really a surprise. Carlos Santana 151, Mike Trout 143, and then Goldie at his 137.
Took a cut at a fastball. 0-2. Well, we all remember the May malaise when Goldie was really searching for it, but ever since May ended, from June the 1st on, he's hit .354.
He's sneaking up on 300 for the season. He was hitting .293 going into play today.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my.
Quinn Walcott with a big miss. Stammen had Goldie rung up, and the inning was over right there. But Stammen did not get the call. I saw how much A.J. Ellis had to move that glove. It was still a strike, but it fooled Walcott back there. A second chance for Goldie.
Make it hurt.
Well, that reminds you of the pitch that Clay Buchholz did not get here Thursday, working on the shutout. 2 outs in the 8th inning against Hunter Renfroe. Didn't get the call, should have been out of the inning. Renfroe homered to spoil the shutout. 2-2. Goldie reaches out and lifts it to Jankowski along the line in right. And Stammen strands that 2-out single. 7th inning stretch in San Diego. Diamondbacks trail it 3-2. An enormous naval presence here in San Diego, where the D-backs are trailing the Padres 3-2. Set for the home half of the 7th inning at Petco Park. Fans plan now to catch a big series next month. D-backs and Cubs, a 3-game set at Chase Field. September 17th through the 19th. Don't miss this series. Cubs and D-backs. These are going to be big games for both these teams. Get your tickets right now at dbacks.com.
A note on the Cubs came over my phone. If I read it correctly, the Cubs are the first team in Major League history 4 straight days score 1 run each time it was on a solo homer.
How about that?
Yeah.
Where's the offense going?
Yeah.
Brad Ziegler on in relief of Zach Greinke to start the 7th. Right now, Greinke is on the hook for what would be his 4th consecutive loss. Hunter Renfroe, a 2-run home run in the 1st, and then Renfroe broke a 2-2 tie with a 2-out RBI single in the 6th. Greinke went 6, gave up just the 3 runs, walked 1, struck out 7.
And another quality start for Zach Greinke, giving him 258 in his career. Only Justin Verlander has more since Greinke made it to the major leagues back in '04.
Diamondbacks have not been able to do much with Padres pitchers so far. Mathis an RBI single in the 2nd, Peralta a solo homer in the 3rd. And that has been the offense. And well, Margot came into play center field his first at bat today, a .243 hitter with 6 homers. He homered here Friday. Brad Ziegler working for the 3rd consecutive ball game. Brad threw 14 pitches in 2/3 of an inning on Friday. Only 2 pitches to get 1 out last night. Came on to retire Austin Hedges to finish the 7th. Ziegler gets the low strike call from Quinn Walcott there. 2-1 on Manuel Margot. Wouldn't bite on that slider. Full count, 3-2. Freddie Galvis on deck. Diamondbacks, unless they can come back, looking at a 9-game road trip against 3 last place teams and a 4-5 record on that trip. Escobar at 3rd. Rockies have already won. They beat the Braves in Atlanta. The Dodgers have an 8-1 lead over the Mariners. They're in the 6th inning in Seattle.
The day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
Galvis 0 for 2. Galvis can become a free agent after this year. He'd like to stick around. He likes the coaching staff, the city, wants to play here a few more years. He's hopefully can work something out. He's 0 for 3 today, 2 outs. Here's A.J. Ellis. Ellis has struck out, grounded out. Pitcher spot up next. Christian Villanueva, who had the walk-off winner last night, is in the on-deck circle for the Padres.
Brad Ziegler's been on a roll of his own since June 5th. A total of 34 1/3 innings pitched, only 6 earned runs allowed. That works out to a 1.57 ERA since the first week of June.
He has had a tremendous season. His numbers in Miami when the Diamondbacks acquired him from the Marlins were outstanding. Member of the D-backs 20th anniversary all-time team. Along with some current teammates, Goldie, A.J. Pollock, Zach Greinke, Patrick Corbin, all on that 20th anniversary team. Managed by Bob Brenly. That's a fair ball. Long throw for Escobar.
Oh,
what a play. Backhanded by Goldie. Eduardo Escobar sends us to the 8th inning with a tremendous play at 3rd. What an addition he's been. Diamondbacks trail it 3-2. Jody Jackson with you. The D-backs trail the Padres 3-2, set for the 8th inning here along the shores of Coronado Beach.
I think that's a Hotel Del Coronado right there. I think.
I can't get in. I wouldn't.
Yeah, they won't let me on that side.
So many folks in the Valley spend some of their summers here. New pitcher for the Padres. He got clipped by a comebacker the other night. A right-hander, Trey Wingenter. He'll face Eduardo Escobar, Daniel Descalso, and Ketel Marte. 5, 6, and 7 due up in the Diamondbacks' 8th inning.
Yeah, a little surprised to see Wigginter out there so quickly after getting drilled. He got hit just above his throwing elbow.
Yeah, that was Thursday in the series opener. A bullet off the bat of A.J. Pollock in the 6th inning had to come out of the ball game. Escobar has a single today, 1 for 3. He'll start us off. Archie Bradley warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. Bob, I think if you're going to look back at this series, regardless of how it finishes up, and talk about what were the key points for the Padres, I think you'd have to start with the San Diego bullpen. They've done a very good job.
And they're right up there with the Diamondbacks in a lot of the important categories that you look at for relief pitchers. They rank 1, 2 in just about everything.
Popped up third base side. Long run for Galvis, foul ground. He can't make the play. Tried the slide and grab. Maybe he needs a third glove. He's on his backup.
Now that looks like the one he started the game with. They may have repaired it between innings there. That one just in and out of the glove. Frustration on the part of Galvis. Darn you, glove.
Maybe they laced it up too tight or something. That was a heck of a try.
I mean, he was on a dead sprint over there to the warning track in foul territory. Long way to run.
No play is how you score that one, so it's 0-2. Wingenter can wing it. Upper 90s fastball. Did he check? Yes, he did, Eric Cooper. It's 2-2. Descalso on deck. Marte after that. Nice catch there by a Padre fan who brought his glove. Just off to our left. Still 2-2 on Eduardo Escobar. One more time, Galvis. Myers is over there as well. And he's got it just shy of the screen.
You know, we don't often talk about the wind here at Petco Park because with all the new building going on in the downtown San Diego area, I think it's changed the wind currents a little bit. There's flags over in the right field corner that seemingly always blow out to right. The ones in left center field, I've seen those flags blowing each direction at the same time. And there's a really big one you can see just over the corner of the scoreboard there. I think eventually that might be the one that teams read. Way up high in left center field on one of the buildings across the street out there. Right now that one's hanging straight down while the flags here inside the stadium are blowing all over the place.
A lot of construction just beyond the center field fence in downtown. 98 from wing enter, and it's 0-2.
Eventually a pattern will develop where if those flags are blowing out and those flags are blowing in, then that means that the ball's going to carry or vice versa. But I think the jury's still out here at Petco.
Descalso hits a fly ball, right field. Get out of here! It's gone, and we're tied. A new career high. That's Descalso's 11th, and it's 3-3. Jankowski almost stole it. And Travis Jankowski hit that wall awfully hard.
Now, we've talked about his speed throughout this series. He was running full speed. Oh, man. Snapped his arm and his body against the wall. The glove came flying off. The ball just cleared the fence out there in right.
Somebody just threw it back. It's sitting out there in right field. That's a jumbo jack, and a clutch one at that. Free jumbo jack tomorrow at Jack in the Box with a purchase of a large drink. The 11th for Descalso. A new personal best. Here's Ketel Marte, 1 for 3. There's a bouncer. Spangenberg ranges over there. 2 outs.
Velocity does not bother Daniel Descalso. The harder you throw, the better he likes it.
Just enough to get over the new home run fence out there. Peralta's went over the other one, the previous fence back in the 3rd. So here's Mathis, who has singled twice. He's knocked in a run. Pitcher spot behind him. Alex Avila is in the on-deck circle. Archie Bradley warming up in the bullpen. Slider is in, 1-0. So Archie looking at the pitcher spot, then Jankowski and Myers in the home half of the 8th. Mathis trying to drop one into right center. There's a little dunk shot, and he's 3 for 4. And Avila will hit. Alex at 176 with 6 homers. He'll bat for Brad Ziegler.
Well, it took Jeff Mathis a while to get that batting average up over the 200 mark, but he's not looking back. 3 knocks in the game today. Nice going.
He's got 4 hits in the series. Tell you what, if Wingenter misses with a fastball, I like our chances right here. Avila got under it just a bit.
Just missed it.
Daniel Descalso, a new career high, his 11th of the year. He hit 10 last year. This one, big time clutch homer that ties it 3-3 in the 8th.
Daniel Descalso's 11th home run of the season ties this one up at 3 as we head to the bottom half of the 8th inning. I mentioned Daniel doesn't mind velocity. Swings through that 97 with a little bit of tail, swings through that 98. You see it 3 times in a row. That's your own fault there, Trey Wigginter.
Boy, left it in the middle up.
Boy.
And he got just enough to get it out of here to tie it at 3. And now last night's hero for the Padres, Christian Villanueva, will be the pinch hitter to face Archie Bradley. Pitcher spot leads it off. Then it's Jankowski and Myers 9-1-2 in the San Diego 8th. Well, this was the big winner last night against Yoshi Hirano after Andrew Chafin had walked Travis Jankowski, the left-hand batter, to lead off the 9th. And Jankowski came across from second with a game-winning run. Villanueva hitting .238 with 20 homers. 3 hits in the series. Boy, Archie, when we saw Archie last night, Bob, a whole bunch of curveballs and some good ones, too. Seemed almost determined to work that pitch back into the repertoire. There's a fastball for a strike, and it's 2-2.
Well, I think that was necessary. If not last night, at least sometime in the very near future, Archie had gotten so fastball dependent that basically that was all he was throwing.
Well, there's a good one right there. He strikes out Villanueva. More on Archie Bradley. Here's Jody.
Earlier today and talking to Archie, he said, you know, yeah, I'm going to mix in that curveball more and more. I said, do you feel confident with it? He said, yes. And he said, you know, even look for other pitches. I said, well, you've got the sinker. He goes, yeah, it might be tweaking a few of his pitches in the repertoire, maybe a different look and different shape to some of the pitches that he already uses. But, guys, certainly if he's able to throw that curveball effectively, it just gets the guys off the fastball.
Yeah, he had tried, as you mentioned, Jody, that 2-seamer for a while, which has some nice run on it into the right-handers, but he was leaving in some bad spots like that. But anything to work as a kind of an off-speed pitch or a breaking ball.
Yeah, hit the mascot. Zoom ball.
There's another one. Jankowski doubled to lead off the ball game against Zach Greinke. He's 1 for 3. Archie keeps missing up with that heater, and it's 3-1. You don't want to put Jankowski on base if you can help it. Although he was thrown out in that first inning, attempting to steal third. Slices one to left. David Peralta is there. 2 outs for Myers. Myers has singled, walked, stolen a base, and scored a run. D-backs will overload the left-hand side with 3 infielders. Descalso just over on the shortstop side of second. Fastballs, a strike, 0-1. D-backs in the top of the 9th will have the top of the order due up. Jay Pollock Peralta, 1, 2, and 3. Missed away, 1-1. Broken bat, no man's land. Escobar can't make the play. He made it awfully close. He had to come from way in at third. He was way back there trying to make the bare hand throw. Almost did.
And we've talked about Myers' speed throughout this series. Once he gets going, he can really pick him up and put him down. That's a nice barehanded play by Escobar. Just no chance to get the speedy Myers at first that time.
Now it's Eric Hosmer. Hosmer singled and scored in the first. He's 1 for 3. Keep in mind, Myers, after he walked in the 6th inning, stole second. Wound up scoring the go-ahead run on a Hunter Renfroe 2-out RBI single. That made it 3-2 San Diego. Before Descalso's home run tied it. Myers a perfect 8 for 8 in his stolen base attempts this year, but he's got that bone bruise in his left foot that had him on the DL last week.
How about this note on the Daniel Descalso home run partner? That was his 11th in 279 at-bats this year. From 2010 till 2014 with the St. Louis Cardinals, he hit 10 home runs in 1,223 at-bats.
Yeah, he sort of became one of these swing plane launch angle guys, and it's worked out. 10 homers with the D-backs last year was a career high, and now he's got 11. And this one is going to drop into left center. Hosmer fights it off for his second hit today. And here comes Renfroe, who has knocked in all 3 Padre runs.
A couple of 2-out base hits here in the 8th for the Padres. Neither one of them struck particularly well. Will Myers with an infield roller to the left side that he was able to beat out, and then Hosmer gets jammed, floats one out into shallow center to put runners at first and second.
So Mathis and Bradley putting together a plan for Renfroe, who hit a long 2-run homer off Zach Greinke in the 1st, and then had the 2-out RBI single in the 6th. And he's knocked in all 3 runs. Two on and 2 out, 3-3 in the 8th. Nice block by Mathis. Renfroe's having a big month of August. He's homered 6 times this month. 18 RBIs in his last 15 games.
He has a home run against Archie Bradley in his career, 2 for 6 with that homer. Also has struck out 3 times.
He is not one of those guys who stays within himself, as the old cliche goes. He will take some hacks and chase some pitches outside the zone. They got a fastball there right down the middle and missed it, 1-1. Another fastball. That's out of play behind the screen. It's one thing for Archie to come in last night, face the bottom of the order, and throw that curveball up there a bunch of times, try and get a feel for it. It's quite another thing to trust it in a spot like this. One and 2. Mathis is saying foul ball. Walcott is saying it hit him on the elbow. And the bases are loaded. That one got him.
Fastball runs up and in. Yeah, got him on that back arm. Jeff Mathis was hoping it hit the knob of the bat and went into foul territory, which would be a ball in play, but clearly caught Renfroe on the forearm.
And so he'll get checked out. The batter will be Corey Spangenberg with the bases loaded and 2 outs. 3 straight have reached against Archie Bradley. Comes Mike Butcher. Bases full of Padres, 3-3 in the 8th. Spangenberg today 0 for 3, struck out looking twice at low fastballs from Zach Greinke. So here we go. Myers is at third, Hosmer at second, and Renfroe at first.
Spangenberg 2 for 4 this season with the bases loaded. In his career, 7 for 15.
Wow.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah. Just missed down and away, a ball and a strike. One and two. Well, that's the pitch that he's been looking at all day long. I don't know what he's waiting for, but he's been rung up on that pitch twice previously. And just looked at another one for strike two. Did he check? Yes, he did. 2-2. And Welmar go on deck. Here's a look.
Ooh, very close.
Got him. Fastball at 97. And Archie leaves them loaded. We stay tied at 3. Park tied at 3. Padres had the early lead. Hunter Renfroe, a first inning 2-run homer against Zach Greinke. D-backs chipped away. Mathis an RBI single. Peralta the solo homer to tie it at 2. Renfroe had the 2-out RBI knock in the 6th to give the Padres the lead, and Descalso a solo homer in the 8th to tie it up. start the ninth inning. Top of the order due up for the Diamondbacks against Padre right-hander Kirby Yates. He makes his 49th appearance. He's had a very good year, a 1.71 ERA. Looks like he's got some defensive changes around him.
I think Villanueva stays in at third base, chasing Will Myers out to left field to take over for Hunter Renfroe. The pitcher will now hit in the fourth spot in the Pirates line, or the Padres lineup rather.
So Villanueva at third, Myers in left. John Jay will lead it off. He's 0 for 4.
The Padres traded their closer Brad Hand at the trade deadline. It just seems odd to look down at the stat sheet and see that Kirby Yates leads the team in saves with 4.
Now they're having a tough year. One, two. Yates got good stuff. Opponents this year hitting less than 190 against him. Yoshi Hirano started warming up with the Diamondback bullpen. Punches this one down the line. Myers over there, but runs out of room. Jay hitless so far today, but he's hit safely in 4 straight and 6 of 7. Five hits in the series. D-back bullpen. Yoshi Hirano joined by Brad Boxberger. Padres will have Margot, Galvis, and Ellis due up in the bottom of the ninth inning, 6, 7, and 8. John Jay doing what John Jay does.
Yep.
Just kind of wears you down. Driven to center field. Margot drifting over there. 1 out. A.J. Pollock now. A.J. doubled in the first inning. He's 1 for 4. So he's doubled 3 times in his last 2 games. 283 on the year. That split changeup that Yates throws. He's got some movement on his pitches. .171 ERA for the year for Kirby Yates. That's top 5 in the National League among relievers. Got a fastball right down the middle. 1-2.
Well, Kirby Yates really has it tough. Lives in Hawaii in the offseason, plays in San Diego in the summertime.
It's a grind, man. Out in front just a bit. Another splitter. D-backs need a win to maintain their half-game lead over Colorado atop the National League West. Rockies won today in Atlanta. They beat the Braves 4-2. German Marquez got his 11th win. Wade Davis saved number 35. AJ lifts one deep left field, and that ball is gone. Descalso ties it in the 8th, and Pollock gives them the lead in the 9th. His 16th of the year, 4-3 D-backs.
Center cut fastball. AJ is all over it. Started the offense for the Diamondbacks back in the first inning with that double to the gap in left center. Hits this one a little bit farther up into the bleachers.
Banging those water bottles. A jumbo jack. Free jumbo jack tomorrow. A Jack in the Box with the purchase of a large drink. Here's Peralta, who homered in the 3rd. Diamondbacks with 4 runs, 3 of them coming on solo homers. 1 in the 8th and 1 in the 9th.
The 4th home run that Yates has allowed all season long. Approaching 50 innings this year.
David lines one to center. That one was kind of slicing away from Margot, but it's the 2nd out. Here comes Goldie. Goldie has walked twice, once intentionally. He's 0 for 2. He's got an 11-game hitting streak on the line right here. That walk in the first inning made it 10 consecutive plate appearances, reaching base safely, a new franchise record. AJ had a couple of big games here. Doubled twice, knocked in 2 runs, scored twice last night. He's doubled and homered here today. 1-2 on Goldie. Nate's got a good fastball. He's got that split change. That was the slider right there. Two and 2. Archie's all fired up. He's in line for the win now. Well, we'll see if Goldie can make it a 12-game hit streak. Full count, 3-2. Just foul it there. Goldie has also now reached base safely in 38 consecutive road games, extending his own D-backs record. He's reached base safely in 25 straight games overall. Boy, he'll try and get that splitter in on some of these righties.
For the most part, it's worked out for him, but he might miss in a bad spot. That could get ugly.
Fight it off. Don't let him in there.
A.J. Pollock, his 16th home run this year, has made it 4-3 Diamondbacks. Trying to take 3 of 4 in San Diego and finish this 9-game road trip 5-4. Stay out front atop the NL West. One more time on 3-2 to Goldie. There it is again, that splitter kind of up and in. Usually that's the kind of pitch most guys want to have down below the knees. Get some swings and misses over the top, but it's about to turn into a 10-pitch at bat.
Well, the only current hitting streak longer than Goldie's, Justin Turner from the Dodgers. He had 3 knocks today, gives him a 13-game hitting streak. That's the longest active streak in the majors.
The Red Menace.
8 of those 13 games were multi-hit games.
Another 3-2 pitch. Goldie knocks it into left and make it a 12-game streak. What an at bat.
Oh, an amazing at bat. I mean, you just got the feeling the longer it went on, Kirby Yates is probably happy it was only a single. Goldie was getting closer and closer, quicker and quicker. Top spin line drive over the head of Freddie Galvis into left field for his first knock today.
Yeah, you got to throw 11, 12 pitches in 1 AB to Paul Goldschmidt. It's not going to go that well for you.
I think the one advantage you have first at bat against Goldie is the unfamiliarity. But once you see that many pitches, I know everything you have. I know what it looks like coming out of your hand. It's just a matter of getting a strike.
Eduardo Escobar, 1 for 4. Behind Dave McKay at first. Rockies have won 4-2 in Atlanta. The Dodgers lead 9-1 in Seattle. Daniel Hudson has come on to pitch that game for LA. Huddy back from the DL.
I mentioned that the A's were leading the Astros earlier today. It's turned around. Houston 9-4 over Oakland right now, top of the 9th.
Both those teams coming into the game with identical records at 74 and 49 atop the AL West. There's that splitter. And that ends the top of the 9th. A.J. Pollock, 16th, makes it 4-3 Diamondbacks as we head to the home half looking for a series win. Daniel Descalso, a home run in the 8th, ties it. A.J. Pollock's solo shot in the 9th has made it 4-3 D-backs as Brad Boxberger comes on to try and lock this one down. He'll face Manuel Margot, Freddie Galvis, and A.J. Ellis due up 6, 7, and 8 in the San Diego 9th inning. Boxberger 27 for 32 in his save opportunities this year. Nick Ahmed is checked into the ball game. Nick takes over at shortstop. And Ketel Marte slides over to second base, replacing Daniel Descalso. So here we go, a chance to take 3 of 4 and make it a 5-4 trip. Stay ahead of the Rockies atop the division. Margot grounded out in his only previous at bat. That was against Brad Ziegler in the 7th. He is stuck right now, Manuel Margot, in a 2 for 29 skid. But one of those hits was a home run here Friday.
It goes without saying, in a one-run ball game, getting that lead man is key to the inning.
Well, we learned that last night.
Yeah.
Especially a guy like Margot, a lot like Jankowski last night. Margot can run, good speed. Boxberger behind 2-0. Boy, swings like that are why Manuel Margot has an on-base percentage below 300 this year. They'd like him to be a leadoff type guy, but he doesn't get on base enough. Too busy here trying to tie up the game.
I mean, that 2-0 pitch was a 92-mile-an-hour laser beam fastball inside part of the plate, mid-thighs, right where you would normally look for a pitch in a 2-0 count. He swung right through it.
2-2. That's a base hit. Tying runs aboard. Margot will stop at first. And the leadoff man's aboard for Galvis. Galvis today 0 for 3. The good news is he's grounded out 3 times. Maybe a chance for Boxberger here to turn 2. Got the catcher Ellis on deck. Gonna have to keep an eye on Margot. He can run. Escobar in a step or 2 at third.
Freddie Galvis with 1 career plate appearance against Brad Boxberger. He put down a sacrifice bunt.
No signs of that yet. That one's foul. One thing about Manuel Margot, he swiped 17 bags last year. He's got 10 steals this year, but he's been caught 9 times. That's the most in the league. So he's got about a 500 percentage as a base stealer in 19 attempts. Not what you want.
Yeah, we talked about it last time we were in town. They've been trying to tighten up his base running. They said he got too far behind the bag when he took his lead. He wasn't running a direct route to second base, kind of staggering around as he got started.
0-1 to Galvis. Margot holds. Nice pick back there by Mathis. That changeup in the dirt. Jeff Mathis, by the way, #1 in the league in terms of defensive runs saved at the catching position. Just saw why. Mathis In fact, leads the majors for catchers. 12 defensive runs saved. If you follow that analytic, that's 2 better than LA's Austin Barnes for the major league lead. He's the best in the business at those pitch blocks. 1-2 on Freddie Galvis. Got him. Elevated a fastball, 1 down.
Non-productive out right there for Freddie Galvis. Margot's still over there at first base.
A.J. Ellis will be the hitter. He's 0 for 3.
A.J. Ellis also with 1 career plate appearance against Brad Boxberger, and he walked. Not really much of a surprise. We've been talking about Ellis throughout the afternoon. Very patient hitter.
Shadow from that light standard behind third, now fully encasing the home plate area. Pitcher's mound is in the bright sunlight. Here's a look at Petco Park.
I never felt this was as bothersome as when the pitcher is in the shade and the batter standing in the sunlight, because you're throwing from the bright sunlight. By the time that ball hits the shadow, the hitter's already made up his mind whether he's going to swing or not.
By then he's identified the pitch.
Yeah. I mean, most batters don't see the ball the last several feet anyway. But when the pitcher's standing out there in the shadows and the ball goes out of the shadows and into the sunlight, oh man, catches you by surprise.
0-1 on the Padres catcher.
Always gets a reaction from the crowd, but that's very important to try to shorten up Margot's lead over there, give your defense a chance to possibly turn 2, at least shorten up the lead enough so Margot can't think about stealing second base.
Change up, down and in. It's 0-2 on A.J. Ellis. Christian Villanueva, last night's walk-off hero, on deck. Rockies have already won. Dodgers leading 12-1, 9th inning at Seattle. Fastball up on 0-2. Margot still holds. Fastball fouled away. D-backs 4 runs, 11 hits. They've left 10 runners on base. Padres 3 runs, 8 hits. They've left 5. A.J. Pollock's 9th inning home run, the difference so far. Here's the 1-2 to Ellis. Just got a piece of a changeup.
Be careful to keep that changeup down with the shift they have on in the outfield. AJ a few steps over in the gap in right center. David playing straight up in left field. There's quite a gap out there in left center, and that figures to be where you would hit an off-speed pitch if you leave it up in the zone. So very important for Brad Boxberger to keep that changeup down.
Yeah, that's just about the deepest part of this ballpark. Lines it to center. AJ backing up, and he's there.
That's why A.J. was playing a few steps over to the gap in right center. Able to run that one down.
So Villanueva, last night's walk-off hero, the last man standing for San Diego. He struck out against Archie Bradley to start the 8th inning. This was Villanueva, a walk-off winner last night off Yoshi Hirano after Andrew Chafin had walked Travis Jankowski to start the inning.
It was just a shame. Yoshi had thrown a couple of real good splitters early in the sequence, but left that one up just enough for Villanueva to pull it down into that left field corner.
Mathis and Ahmed will get together with Boxberger. A reminder, the debut episode, A Cup of Coffee, Steven Souza Jr. premieres immediately following our ball game. No post-game show today. Thanks in advance once again to Josh Kellum and his terrific staff for putting that show together. Tying runs at first. Winning run is at the plate. 2 outs in the 9th. D-backs have 3 infielders on the left-hand side. You've got Goldie holding Margot on the base at first, so the right side of the infield is wide open right now. If Villanueva can go the other way.
I'm not sure Villanueva knows there is a right side to the infield.
I think you're right.
He's looking to pull all the time.
Outfield is way back on the warning track almost all the way around. Got a fastball up and missed it. It's 0-2. Archie Bradley in line for the win. Boxberger a strike away from the save. Another block by Mathis. 2-2. Jankowski would be next. Another change up, another bouncer, and it's a full count. This will get Margot started from first, so anything in the gap has a chance to tie the ball game.
And that's why the Diamondbacks are playing their no doubles defense in the outfield. Play deep so nothing can get between you or down the lines. Try to hold that runner at third base on an extra base hit.
Goldie holding him on the bag at first. Here goes Margot. Swing and a miss, and the D-backs win it 4-3. Brad Boxberger shuts the door, and the Diamondbacks take 3 of 4 in San Diego with some late inning drama. Descalso's 8th inning homer tied it. AJ's solo shot in the 9th is the difference.
Pitching, defense, and timely hitting has been a formula that's worked for the Diamondbacks all summer long. We saw a little bit of everything in the ball game today. D-backs come out on top.
So they take 3 of 4 here at Petco Park. They finish the 9-game trip 5-4 and maintain that half-game lead over Colorado atop the National League West. Diamondbacks now 10-4 versus the Padres this year, 6-1 at Petco Park. And it's back to a season-high 13 games over 500. Good way to end the road trip.
A really good way to end what in some ways was a disappointing road trip, but the bottom line is you come away 1 game better than you were when you left home, so all's well that ends well.
And they keep pace with Colorado and the Dodgers. Torey Lovullo's ball club an off day tomorrow. Angels in at Chase Field for 2 starting Tuesday. AJ